What's good, y'all, man? Today we got to talk about LSU and USC game last night. Man, was this a game. So first off, let's just talk about the quarterbacks, man. They looked good. Like, to be replacements of the players last year, like, you had two guys that won Heisman in back-to-back years. Caleb Williams in 2022, Jaden Daniels last year. And then both of these guys stepped up. Miller Moss looked good, 370 yards passing, only 9 incompletions. Had a touchdown in this one, was hitting his receivers all over the field. I mean, looked accurate, poised, had a couple sacks, but man, just when you talk about constantly delivering, Moss did that, man. So shout out to him for his performance. Next, I think I'm most impressed with was Garrett Nussmeier. Like, he looked like he could be the starter the next 2 years for LSU. Now, like I said, they did lose. We'll talk about some of the reasons they did lose and they lost in this one, but 304 yards. And like I said, I don't think he really had a bad throw all game. The interception was just a good play on the ball. But he looked good throughout that game, man. It was making throws. They tied it up, and things like that. Defense just couldn't get the stop. But I thought it was a master class that he put together for the LSU Tigers. And they got a quarterback. That was the biggest question for me with LSU. Do they have a quarterback? So, this loss, that's why I love the playoff. I know everybody's complaining, it makes the significance of the games worse. Man, it makes the significance of the game better, because a loss like this doesn't punish you for the rest of the season. Right, you can come back and put together 10 wins, 11 wins, and make the playoff, or even 9 wins and make the playoff. I think this LSU team will be just fine. Got to clean up, correct some things, but Nussmeier, they got their quarterback. All right, so let's look at team stats before we break down some of the players. So team stat, neither team did good, so I give the defenses bonuses on this. Gave up a lot of yards though. Each team gave up over nearly 500 yards, but each defense slowed down each other or slowed down the offenses. 3-9 for USC, 5-13 for LSU. So when it comes down to it, that's what you want. That's what you want to see. You want to see your team being able to step up and being able to force the other team, negative. That's under 50% for both teams. That's pretty good. All right, a key stat on why, obviously, they lost this game, LSU. The penalties right here, man. 10 for 99 yards, man. Just got to be more disciplined. Like, Kyron Lacey, I'll talk about him in a little bit. You can't be doing things like that. It's cool to celebrate, cool to do your thing, but going like this at the person, got to be smarter, man. You know what I'm saying? Got to be smarter. The false starts they had, the holding penalties that brought back big plays, like, you got to clean that up if you're going to beat the team. But like I said, they battled and they played pretty good. You know what I'm saying? But that's another key stat and why they actually lost this game. But speaking of the game overall, real quick before I get to some of the players, ESPN has booked it the last 2 years about, getting really marquee matchups for Sunday. Yeah, last year they had LSU, Florida State. That game was pretty good, I thought. This year was even better. And peep this, y'all. They set records. They set an attendance record with 64,000 plus in attendance at Allegiant Stadium, right? This game wasn't at LSU. This game wasn't at the Coliseum at USC in California. This game was at a neutral site, and they still set a record. That says a lot, man. So ESPN has been nailing these games. I can't wait to see, obviously, next year what game they get, but they've been nailing it. And this one was a barn burner. I mean, they went back and forth. I think the biggest lead might have been 4 or 5 points, and it just was a classic, I thought, a great, season opening classic. Now, LSU is 0-5 in their last 5 season openers, unfortunately. But like I said, there's a lot to like, and let's talk about that. First off, the kid Kyron Lacey is a stud. And what we've seen with LSU, and I'm going to say these two colleges, Ohio State, LSU, wide receiver U, till I see otherwise. Obviously, let me throw in Bama in there as well. Bama, not the last few years, but they got a kid, Ryan Williams, that's pretty good as well. And we already talked about Auburn, how good they could be. But Lacey, they featured him the first drive. He had 4 catches for 41 yards, man. Finished with 94 yards, 7 catches, and a touchdown. The kid is a stud. So he going to have some great weapons to throw to. I like Aaron Anderson as well. He looked it pretty good. And I like how Nussmeier goes through his reads, right? If something's not there, he's not panicking. He's staying in the pocket, and he's throwing it. Only play that I seen that he might have messed up is when he got pressure on goal line situation early in the game, 4th and goal, and he kind of threw it up. But again, you have those kind of things when it's kind of your first year as a full-time starter. Now, he did start, I think, in their bowl game, but as a full-time starter, And I also like the tight end, Mason Taylor. He had a pretty good game, 7 catches, 62 yards. So he knows where to go with the football, but I like his receiving corps. It is pretty good. On the other side, same thing with USC. I like the kid Woody Marks, man. He had that game-winning touchdown, 68 yards on 16 carries. balance is what I appreciate the most. Now, they did throw it 36 times, right? But I like how USC is incorporating that rushing attack in there as well. So that is a bonus. That's a positive for them. And then you got some guys you get the ball to. Kobe Lane had a touchdown. Zachariah Branch did his thing. Kyron Hudson had 5 catches for 83 yards. So what I do like about this team, it's not centered around one receiver, right? They have a bunch of guys that can win. And Zachariah Branch, kind of your do-it-all player, can return kicks, punts, does the offensive side of the ball as well. So it does a little bit of everything for you. But they got multiple guys that they can depend on in this offense. I think that's what makes USC pretty good. Now, I don't know if that's playoff good. We have to find out. You know what I'm saying? But that is a positive. And like I said, man, defense stepped up big. When you look at yards, you be like, oh, wasn't a great performance. But they stepped up big on that final drive in the red zone. They forced a field goal for LSU instead of a touchdown. I mean, the game 24-20. So that was huge. And they marched right down the field, man. And talk about that throw. He lasered that throw from Miller Moss to Hudson, man. That was a laser throw. Took a big hit. Still was able to come down with it, man. Those are the key winning plays you want to have in the game to come out on top, man. So overall, man, great win for USC. Against LSU. I think LSU has nothing to hang their hat on. Far as to think like, oh, man, we in trouble. Like, nah, man, y'all boys are good. That was a really good game. Got a lot of positive takeaways. Just got to clean up a couple things, the penalties, some of those coverages. But overall, man, great game. ESPN did it yet again, man, and got us another really thrilling matchup between two really good teams. I mean, they might have something to say before it's said and done. So we'll see. Obviously, USC is in the Big Ten this year. LSU is going to be in the SEC as always. So we will see, man. But I think SEC ball is going to be intriguing this year. You had Missouri look good in their opener. Got Ole Miss with Jackson Dart. Can they finally take that step forward? I think Auburn's going to have something to say. I think they're going to have a pretty good year. Alabama did their thing against Western Kentucky. Vanderbilt pulled off the upset, even though I don't think they're going to be relevant in all this. But I'm just saying it was a pretty good week overall for the SEC, man. I think the conference is going to be very intriguing to see who comes out on top. And obviously Georgia handled Clemson, man. But give me your thoughts, man, on the game. USC comes out on top. I thought it was a great game between both teams. And they both got quarterbacks. So that question is answered. Now it would be, can the defenses get those stops and not allow so much yards? But overall, great game between two good teams.